Mhm. Good morning, everybody. My name is Dave Finale, and this is Real Estate Talk TGIF. This is episode 296. That's 293 weeks in a row, a few extra episodes. We are so fortunate and happy to have the badass from Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area, Mark Perkins. This guy, he just decided to help people, and now he helps agents. He helps all different kinds of people. Mark, thank you so much for taking the time out today.
Hey, thanks for having me on. It's I love to get these opportunities, and you've been doing this 296. I was trying to push us off to 300, but maybe somebody else gets that slot.
I don't know who's got that slot yet. I think I've already got it set up. It might be Carrie Shull. I'm not sure. But anyway, here we are. You know what? And right now, we're going to get started, but a quick intro video. Hit it, Nelson.
Real estate agents, are you looking to acquire clients consistently to grow your business and income for a great lifestyle? Well, this is Dave Finale, and I'm here to bring you the Real Estate Skill Builder broadcast, Real Estate Talk TGIF, brought to you by Real Estate Skill Builder and the Modern Agent team.
This broadcast is also brought to you by njheroesprogram.com. This is a pet peeve. It's a private and project close to my heart where I get to help veterans buy and sell real estate, saving them a few bucks here and there. A hero is a veteran, military, retired military, healthcare worker, law enforcement, EMT, teacher. What else? Civil service workers, postal workers. So we try to help people save money when they buy a house. We know that you guys work your asses off and you're there for us. You're our heroes, my hero. And that's njheroesprogram.com. We'll scroll that URL in a little while. But anyway, today is not about me. It's about Mark Perkins and what he's done in his lifetime. So the very life thing, right, man? So Mark, thanks so much for coming today and being on the broadcast with me.
Yeah, it's awesome. Hey, that first picture, though, that you shared of us, the intro logo, it showed you and me. And instantly it popped in my head. I was like, wow, that's like the new version of Beauty and the Beast, right? So
I'm not sure if take that as an insult or
No, it's good. No, it's good. I'm like, man, I look way better sitting next to you, so this will be a good conversation today.
So anyway, I start every broadcast with a simple question. And the question is, this is Real Estate Talk TGIF. What does TGIF stand for?
I don't know, but I think there's supposed to be a seventh or an eighth day. But I said, I guess, thank goodness it's Friday. That's what it's supposed to be. But if you hear conversations about me with me about what I say about Friday and what day of the week, so what's it supposed to be? Is it thank goodness it's Friday or no?
Well, most people would think that, Mark. I actually, with this broadcast, it's thank God it's finale.
There you go.
You know, it's my broadcast. I do whatever I want. And anyway, so I'm really excited to have you here, Mark. And I like to start off with any guest to talk about where they came from, where they started. I mean, most people, they don't wake up, or go to college to become a real estate agent. They don't go to high school thinking about it. Sometimes that's different. Sometimes it isn't. But here's the thing, man. Tell me your story, how you got where you are today, where it started, and what your principles have been to get you here.
So I won't go into the big, deep details because I'm a guy that could talk for 10 minutes about it, right? But normal childhood, and I think normal childhood growing up in the 80s was we weren't very financially fortunate, had a very loving mom and not so much dad, but overall a good wife. Growing up as a kid, I was happy. I was a happy kid. We didn't have a lot financially, but I grew up and they took me to church and we learned these principles and these values of work hard, treat people well, and the rest should kind of fall in line and take care of itself. And so I think I just went through life with that. A normal high school experience, not so normal college experience. I'd go for a year and then took another opportunity and then some night classes. So, but what led me to real estate is I was 25 years old and I was taking evening classes at a local university, and an adjunct professor, I was talking about burnout in my current professional career. I was in retail and middle to upper management. And I was talking to the professor, the business professor that night, and I said, I'm just burnt out. What I learned what burnout is you've lost your passion or purpose for your thing. And so I was burnt out and I was going to do something new. And he said, what do you think you're going to do? And I said, to be honest with you, I have no idea. I'm on that search and that journey. And he said, you should be in commission sales. And I said, oh, really? I've heard that before. What type of commission sales do you think I should be in? He said, I don't know, man. Maybe get your real estate license. And so there wasn't any big, like you said, direct path or plan or ideal that I was going to become a realtor, to your point, who thinks of that. So, but I just took those same values that I learned from a hardworking, do the right thing, treat people well, good mom that I saw as an example growing up, and then the work ethic that I had and the perseverance and the resilience that I had developed, and I just applied them to real estate. And then we could talk about from 25 to 40, 45 here, 45 last week. So the past 20 years, it's been all in with real estate.
Well, first of all, happy birthday. And, you
Thanks,
got a
man.
birthday video from me when it was your birthday.
Yeah.
So 25 to 45, talk to me about those years, man. I mean, where did it go? I mean, I'm sure you look back and say, holy shit, it's 20 years already.
Yeah. Isn't that wild? On
is.
mine and your conversation the other day, I said, man, I think 20 years is a lot of experience. What's yours, 30? And you said 40. And so I said, well, I think 20 is relevant enough to have a good perspective on things. And you said, yeah. So, yeah, it goes by fast. But I made a post the other day, I think last week. My high school invited me back to talk to their senior class last week. And that's an honor. It's probably one step down from a commencement speech. And they had me come and talk to them as a part of the program to make them college and career ready coming out of high school. And what I reflected when I was making a post on that is I said, I walked the hallways of that high school, and I said, 25 years, or it was 27 years, time goes by so fast and so slow. And that's true through that reflection. So I look at 20 years, I've done a lot. I've been a part of a lot, had a lot of ups and downs, had a ton of failure that comes with life. Inevitably, it's going to show up, but a lot of success too, the way that most see it. And so what most people don't know today, this guy talking to you in the brokerage of the company that I run, the real estate company, is, hey, I started just like any other agent today that starts day one. I was that same person. I had the same lack of knowledge, didn't have any experience. I currently lived in an apartment at that time, didn't own a home, didn't understand contracts at the level that people need to now, didn't understand negotiations. I just knew how to go out and make relationships with humans. So I looked through the past 20 years, and everything that has compoundly benefited my company and both me personally, it's because the relationships I've developed with other humans and how I've treated them. And so I could talk about the story on how at 25 I got in the business and did everything that no one else was willing to do. That story's been written about other industries way before me and you were born.
Right.
And so whether it be knocking on doors, holding 4 open houses on weekends, just aggressively farming neighborhoods. And so there's such an opportunity in this business because still today, there are still so many that aren't willing to do the so-called tough things that really are the unlock for the career that everybody wants for themselves.
So that's always been a pet peeve of mine. The people that want this, they say they want that, but they're unwilling to do the work. You just mentioned knocking doors and 4 open houses on weekends. How did you do 4 open houses on weekends?
2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. It's an 11 to 1. It's 11 to 1 and 3 to 5, an hour between. Yeah. I wish, I'm kind of over being frustrated, but sometimes it comes back because my passion and purpose with doing this thing. I mean, listen, I could, it's very easy now for me, even in this Midwestern market that I work in. It's very easy for me if I wanted to be an individual agent and not run a company of 160 or 170 agents, or if I wanted to have a little team of 2 or 3, it's very easy for me to make $1 million. Very easy. And so I could do that, but I have all the things I need. I drive the nice car that I don't owe anything on. I live in the nice house, and I took a trip to Spain. I can do all those things, but the real passion in my life, because I do this 80 to 90 hours a week, is to try to help people achieve this vision they have for their life that they describe and they enunciate. And the disconnect is, I know the challenges they're going to face. I know inevitably they're probably not going to have developed the resilience and the stick-to-itiveness and the all-in attitude it's going to take, but that's my job. I think that's my job as a broker. If I really am doing this the right way, a broker, a leader, an influencer, and a coach, it's my job to help them do the tactical things that they otherwise maybe wouldn't have done.
So let's put this into perspective too, right? So you talked about there's so many people out there that are not willing to do the hard things. And then your job as what you do, that you built a brokerage of 160 to 170 people, with a perspective and with them able to get past the losses, starting out. Look, let's face it, most agents get into this business for a lot of different reasons. I'll name a few, right? Make as much money as they want, set their own hours. Those people are going to be the 80% that never make it, I think. 80 to 90% that don't make it, because basically my research has shown that when you say that, I got in because I can make as much money as I want, you ain't working, see you later, go get a 9 to 5 or go back, right? And then we look at what you started to do, and you always knew there was a better way, and that's when you made the change to pivot. You started it, right? Mm-hmm. But how do you get the agent from step A or step one, where they falter and they say, shit, I can't do this, to step two?
It starts before that, is what I've found. They have to make a commitment. It starts from the conversation before they even get in the business. I mean, what we've done is it's a specialty of our company. We've really helped people. The majority of our agents weren't licensed before we came into contact with them. We transition them into the business, grow them to six-figure earners. The conversation on whether or not they're going to be the person that does the necessary things is before they ever get a license. And are they someone that is capable of committing to outcomes? Because that's all I've done in my life. Like, too many people, they haven't made a decision before they get to the crossroads. It's essential that happens, because what I found is that the capable agent and broker that's sitting here today that I am, that was not the same person my first year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years in the business. I just worked hard and got a little bit better every day. And everybody just needs to know, like, if you don't quit, a lot of people say, but it's true. If you don't quit, it's not about how long it's going to take you to be proficient, 10,000 hours, the book, and then outliers. And so it's not about that. It's literally about, like, are you not going to quit? And that commitment, that decision has to be made before you come to the crossroads of really difficult decisions and things. I always tell people, like, put yourself in a spot where you don't have a decision to make. 20 years ago when I started, I wasn't going to quit. I learned enough in life. We change jobs when we're young. We don't fully see everything through. We come in and out of relationships. But I realized in life, I was like, hey, this is the thing where I don't want to ever hit the reset button. This is the thing. I saw it for the opportunity it was. I didn't know how hard it was going to be, but I realized, like, hey, if I really see this through and I compound and get the whole 1% better every day, I'm going to turn into a very capable individual, and that's going to lead to me making a lot of money and a great life. So it's a lot more simple than, like you said, hey, steps 1 and 2. If in the beginning you commit to, like, hey, this is going to be my career, I'm going to see this through, everything else takes care of itself, man. Yeah, it really does. I don't want to oversimplify it, but that's how it is.
I think in a great way you have oversimplified it, where it's okay. So I look at it as choice, right? You say commitment. It is a commitment, and you're making a choice. You're choosing the real estate business so that when you do come to the crossroads, you've already made the decision and your commitment to an outcome. I love that phrase. Choose your commitment to an outcome. I love that. I wrote that down sideways, so I had to turn it a little bit. So, you have, I'm sure you've seen it. I've seen it a lot, where agents come in and say, well, I want to try real estate.
If they say try, they're screwed. So you found out if they want to make a lot of money, you think 90% fail. If anybody comes to me, if I hear that word try, I'm beyond being mean, but I just sit down and have a conversation and say, hey, this thing is going to be probably the most difficult professional endeavor you've ever undertaken. It's not going to work for you.
So I want to segue into a little bit of a conversation we had the other day about brokerages and stuff. And how I want to say how things have changed over the last 10 years, in my opinion, where, there's brokerages. We've gone from sales centric in the 70s and 80s to broker centric, company centric in the 90s to the early 2000s to a little bit of teams. And now we've gotten to the point of being agent centric, which makes sense more than it ever did. You know, when I first walked into a real estate office with a license, and you know, I heard someone say this at an event I'm at yesterday, and you know, they were so excited they were offered the job the moment they got into the real estate office from the broker, and you know, they're saying, "Oh, so amazing! Wow, they must really love me. I got this job." Well, that's probably the last, you know, positive thing that happens to them for a long time. But they get in it, and all of a sudden, it's like, wait a minute, I have to work, right?
Yeah, why do you think that is? Well, I mean, we've trained. I think it goes all the way back to the turn of the century in 1900 with a lot of the billionaires back then who were the driving industry, Rockefellers and these people. It seems like we were programmed to be employees, but the struggle is that even if you're an employee where you're exchanging your time for a weekly set amount of income, let's say you're exchanging your work that week for $1,500 for an employee, there's still something that seems like it's happened in society. And this isn't me complaining. It is what it is. It creates opportunities for those who want to go all in. But there's something that's happened in society where we've lost this aspect of work ethic. And what I mean with work ethic is like hard work. And then like what I mean by hard work, I mean a sense of urgency in an 8-hour day to actually do a true 8 hours of work for the person that is giving you money to do that. And so I think because our society has lost that some, then you definitely don't have those skills if you want to transition into an entrepreneurial adventure. So I think people are, I think our hands are tied behind our backs so much. It's our responsibility as humans, but society's having a problem right now. It is not preparing us and setting us up for truly venturing out on a real estate career and what this thing's going to be. Because what we're having to do is, I'm finding with people that we're transitioning into the business, they're capable humans. Yes. We're just having to teach them work ethic, yes, sales skills, and then how to be a really good agent. It's tough right now. It is tough to take someone brand new that's coming from being an employee somewhere and what that's been, and having to teach multiple different areas. So yeah, I think there's multiple things we're dealing with here.
I don't think that I think we're not prepared. I think what's happened is, over the time you talk about Rockefeller and everything else with the steel industry and all that stuff coming up and how our country was built, we turned ourselves into the consummate employee.
Yeah.
Where we're not ready to be the boss. Okay,
I think it had decent intentions. I do. I think, you know, they actually created the traditional public school system and stuff, I believe, in the early 1900s. I think those people were influential in doing that. But the issue is that now we're at a place where there's so much more information at our fingertips. I think back up until probably the 2000s, when social media wasn't at our fingertips, the people that we were around, our world was a lot smaller. The bubble that we existed in looked more like us. The jobs we had, the people we were hanging out with. The problem is now you're not just confined to your circle and people around you that have made similar decisions like you have in life. Now you're exposed to people who have taken their same life with the same amount of years and the same hours and the same opportunity to breathe the same air, and they've done something significantly different with it. And that's I think it's probably causing anxiety, it's probably causing depression, and it's causing people to really have some short circuits in their brains.
No, absolutely. Here's the thing, though. I mean, over the years, I mean, now that we're agent-centric, it's like we're starting to see, I think, what brokerages should have been, right? And they should have been where you're going to come in and you're going to do this work. If you don't do this work, you can't work with me.
Yeah, see, that's it, right? I think because even though we're independent contractors by nature, there's a few larger companies out there that give pay. But this business, because it's 7 days a week, because of the time that we show homes, I mean, listen, we got to be ready to work 7 days a week at any moment. I don't even know how you put an employee on a 40-hour work schedule to do it. I don't know how that would work. And so what I think about even though they're independent contractors, it's our job to lay down as a broker. I don't care. It could be a broker of 50,000 or my brokerage of 170 or somebody with 1,000. I think it's our job to lay down and say, this is what our company stands for. And this is what the public can expect to get from us, right? When an agent shows up that says, for here in Cincinnati, it says Pivot, that stands for something. And I'm not trying to compare us to another brokerage. I hope they say theirs stands for whatever they believe in. The problem is, though, these brokerages don't stand for anything anymore. Most don't. And it can be a numbers game. They just throw stuff against the wall. So my expectation is for our independent contractors, if you're going to come and put this placard over top of your business, if you're going to represent us in a certain way. It's no different than if me and you were to go to Home Depot and Lowe's and you want a tile job done and we buy tile from them. They can set up the subcontractor to come out and install your tile, right?
Right.
Those are subcontractors. I guarantee that Home Depot has certain expectations on the way that installation happens. And if it doesn't go properly, that subcontractor probably is going to be reduced in how many installs they're going to continue to get. And so it's no different than that. So I think there's a problem in our business where whether it's a lack of ability, whether becoming a broker is too easy, whether becoming a team leader is too easy, there's a lack of acknowledged responsibility to train, develop, and lead agents in this business. So
is it important for a new agent to be a member of a team? Is that something that we want?
Not if you're at my company. I mean, and there's other companies that are probably as good as us. I think, unfortunately, I'm all about teams. But here's the misnomer that's happened with teams. Here's what's happened. This is my opinion. You're going to get a ton of pushback from your world and the people you know, but I'm going to share the things I believe. Here's the problem with teams in real estate. If we remove ourselves from real estate and go into any other environment, imagine if you work at a company of 1,000 and that company has a managerial opening and they don't make anybody apply for it. They don't make you sit down and interview. You don't have to have a book of work to look back on and see your capabilities. You haven't ever been any sort of a supervisor. That every single one of those 1,000 says, any of you, regardless of anything, can have this management job. That's a disaster. And so then the problem with our business, what has happened is, with most companies, most brokerages, they're making every agent believe that no matter where you're at, no matter your level of experience, no matter how your leadership skills have developed, that you can be a team leader. It's a disaster for our industry. Now, here's what I love. What companies and brokerages should do is teach leadership development. Develop the people. If they raise their hand and they want to become a team leader, put them into a portal. Have a 3 to 6 month plan to help those people develop the skills that it's going to take to lead. And not only that, the biggest issue that I see as well, over the past 16 years of me running my company, it has been essential. The way I found the limited success that we've had is that in every situation, I have to put the interest of the people on my team before my own. That's my method of success. When my agents are in need, I've got to show up. They're not here to serve me, man. They're not here to be on my team to lift me up and prop me up. No. It's in reverse.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm the ultimate team leader, being a true broker. And so the industry has been misguided. So I want team leaders. My company becomes stronger if we have great leaders and I'm able to develop folks. But and I think too, when you let people become team leaders that aren't capable, like go read the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. Awesome book. It's one of the great ones. Before anybody should be a manager, because we say team leader, you're a manager now. Before you take that upon yourself, read that book. And if you're not willing to work on all skills in all those 21 categories and show up for your people and to serve them instead of having them serve you, you're doing it wrong.
So let's talk about pivot. Let's talk about what's right with what you've done, with what the industry has done. What I love about this industry is that it's really evolved into what I said, agent centric, and agents are really being allowed to really excel. And we're seeing a lot of that. And that's one of the things that you have done. Number one, you've excelled yourself and built this business. Number two, you're all about having the agents that are with you excel. And the majority of them are homegrown in Pivot from
all but
you.
Three. All
Talk
but
to
three.
me about why you started your business, how you started it, and how it has grown to where it is today.
Man, I was, for the first 2.5 years, from 25 to 28, I did really well. I'm sure there's people that do better, but I did really well. And I was consistently on the top chart of 1,300 agents. And it was a good company. They'd been around multiple generations. But the problem was that I found out within 2.5 years, it was about numbers, and that numbers means my clients were numbers and I was a number. And that doesn't feel good for anybody. That's not just in real estate. And so I looked around, a couple things happened. I was the guy who wore, just like I'm wearing Pivot now, I wore the brand. I wasn't even about the Mark Perkins brand. That was before realtors were really doing a great job personal branding. Yeah, we've been on buses and billboards. And personal branding is way different than that. So, but I went back and I just realized that I'm not happy working the way that the business was. And I looked around. It was a fine company, but I realized, like, hey, I want to stay in real estate. But if I'm going to stay in the business, now's the time. And so what I did, a couple things happened. I took a piece of paper or a napkin, and I wrote down the attributes that I wanted the company to have that I wanted to work at as an agent. I didn't build a big business plan about how many agents I'm going to recruit and what the downline looks like and what's my profit going to be. I wrote down the things that I wanted a company before this name Pivot was ever created and started, what I want it to be. And I looked at that, and I actually looked around the marketplace because I didn't want to be this entrepreneur. I really didn't. I wanted to be a sales guy who changed my life. And so I looked around the marketplace of a lot of brokerages, and there wasn't anybody living up to half of these things, man. I didn't tell anybody else about it. I wasn't out here talking about it. I mean, social media wasn't even a game then, really. I mean, go back to 2007, right? We weren't playing the social media game then. No. And so what I did was I made a decision that day. I said, I'm going to start the company. But I started the company for me to work at. A lot of people try to tell that story, and I haven't even really gone deep into like that story and the meaning of it, but that's why I started. I didn't start it for anybody else. I didn't. I started it for me. But then what I found is, so I built the best company for Mark the agent to be treated. Then that benefited everybody else at a very, very, very high level as we grew. So I can go on and talk more. So I don't know what the rest of the question was, but that's the reason why I started it, man. It wasn't to become a multimillionaire. It wasn't for that.
So talk to me about when you built the company. Talk to me about some of the principles that attracts your agents coming in today, because you built it to 170 agents or so.
Yeah. And we're starting to do some things. We're adding anywhere from 5 to 7 new agents every month. So by the end of the year, we should be 225, 230, 240. So, man, here's just what I looked at. For some reason, I've just been this fundamentally principled guy. And it's not about judgment at all. Like, I don't care. I really like politics and religion. They're irrelevant in my life. I don't care. Do what you want to do. But I have these principles about like hard work. And I believe when we obtain a real estate license, and NAR's taught us forever, no matter if people like it or not, but there's these fiduciary responsibilities that once we become a licensed real estate agent, we're all taught this. And there's ethical stuff. And I said, okay, if I'm going to obtain a license and I'm agreeing that these are the responsibilities that these people that have come before me have learned that are best for consumers, and that it's my job as clients to treat them in this manner, then I think we should. And so because of that, there's these fundamental things that when I look around at companies that are allowing people to become licensed and aren't requiring training, that aren't requiring professional development, that aren't really addressing things, they're worried about somebody's going to leave, so they don't sit them down and have conversations of those tough moments. I'm okay with part-time agents, but when you're a part-time agent, when you have a client, you better be prepared to be full-time. So there's these things about hard work, about commitment to your clients. I tell it all the time, and I'm sure over the years some agents have left because of it, but I've told them it almost feels like the real estate industry, not Pivot, but the real estate industry of the mafia. You know the story of the mafia guys where it says, hey, if we call you, no matter if your mom or your kid or your wife's in the hospital, you better come to us. But I kind of teach it that way about, hey, you all listen, if you accept the responsibility of representing a client, the entirety of that representation of that process of signing up as a buyer or taking on a listing, if they call, you better go. If they need counseling at 9 o'clock on a Thursday night or a Saturday night, yeah, that's the part about our business that sucks, but that's the exchange for making tremendous commissions and earning a high level of income. So there's these principles about doing it right. And doing it right is how you work, how you develop your skills, how you treat other humans. And hey, we're not perfect at all. But I think if you set these principles and you set these standards and you're working every day to try to achieve those, you're going to be closer to them than not.
So let me ask you this question, right? So one of the schools of thought is that you need to set expectations for your buyers and sellers. And what you just said was, if they call you at 9 o'clock, you're going to answer.
Yeah.
Right. Is there
It's,
are there no limitations? Are there no expectations of, it's not an emergency at 9:00 at night? Is there?
I don't know. Yeah,
Talk
let
to
me
me
ask
about
a question though. Do you think that if LeBron James, do you think if he calls his agent at 1:00 in the morning on a Sunday, that agent's probably going to pick up if he sees it ringing?
Yeah, I would think so.
Don't we all want to be treated that way? So whether we like it or not, we all think we're LeBron, man. Most of us aren't, but we all think we are.
We all want to get paid like LeBron.
Yeah, but here's the case. If you show up for your clients like that, eventually you will. You have the capability. What I've built in my life, man, I can take people, if they'll go all in for 2 decades like I have or 40 years like you have, man, you'll completely change your life. You want we need to align what our expectations of the vision we have for our life with the true reality of what we're willing to sacrifice on a daily basis. Like, man, where my outcome is, I can show anyone in this business, you want the $4 or $5 million home in Anna Marie Island in Florida within 20 years. You want to drive all the nice cars. You want to have true passive income for your wife. You want to build a real estate portfolio. I think it starts with treating people in a way that most people aren't willing to treat them. And so, no, I mean, it's very uncomfortable to deliver the highest level of service in the world, man. But you got to ask yourself what you want. You want to be mediocre and normal? Okay. Set parameters around how you engage with your clients.
Is that the difference between success and failure?
Yeah, man, I'm all in. And that's when I look around my company. Man, I have one of our top agents who runs a team here. If I have one vice in life, like I don't drink, I don't go out partying all the time, but I like playing a little blackjack every once in a while. Right? And so, boys like Phil Treadwell, the guy, one of the nationals, he was in mortgage and now he has a coaching academy. He came in last week. He was doing an event in Dayton, Ohio, and he came down to hang out. And we had dinner at a nice steakhouse. I was like, let's run over to the casino, man. And I was getting ready to play some blackjack. We talked for 2 hours. But about 8 years ago, this guy was dealing me blackjack, man. Now he's making $500,000 a year. He's a multimillionaire. I've helped him build his real estate. He didn't have shit beforehand. He was driving a powder blue two-door Toyota Tercel where one of the driver's door wouldn't even open. When he went out to show his first house, he had to park around the corner so the people that were showing up to see the home wouldn't see the car he was getting out of.
I've done that.
Yeah, right. And so what we have to do is we have to quit lowering the bar or the expectation of what this takes. And so if someone thinks they're a LeBron of real estate, then you better act like it. If you want to represent the LeBrons of real estate, you better act like it. And so I think that's part of the commitment in the beginning. Like, not what do you want to be? Like, what are you going to commit to be? And, you're going to commit to that? Let's talk about the sacrifice that's necessary. And that's what's so important in the beginning. You have to be so all in that no matter what comes your way, no matter what failure, no matter what hardships, you got to rise to the occasion. And that's what's so important about having 1 or 2 or 3 really, really good, supportive, positive people in your life to have your back, because you're going to need to lean on those folks.
So when we talk about, it's really important. The support is very, very important. There's no question about that, right? Yep. You have the support, and you've made a choice, and that's what I love. That I love that. I'm going to come back to it. Mm-hmm. You've made a choice in the beginning to an outcome. So when you reach a fork in the road, there's no question what you're doing.
Yeah.
There's no question. There's no decision to make. I like to look at choice and just put a bow on that.
See, they don't understand. Here's the bow, man. Everyone's listening to this, and like, I'm on board with not playing the comparison game. I believe that. I believe comparison could be the thief of joy, but you got to model behavior. See, modeling's different. Like, you can authentically be you, but you better model. If you want to be a $500,000 earner, a $200,000 earner, a $1 million earner, if you truly are like, that's what I'm committed to, then the easy way to get there, to know what you have to do, quit going on all these, like, I'm a member of a Facebook group with hundreds of thousands of people. You're probably on it too, right? Every day I look at that, and there are some of the most ridiculous questions that are asked in that forum. And I'm like, is there such a void in your life that there is no one around you that is leading you to give you these answers? Or are you just someone that continues to not like the response? But you just have to, like, all you have to do is look at the $1 million earner, the $500,000 earner, the 200,000, model their behavior. Take them to lunch. Take them to lunch, man. Here's what's funny. High-producing people, they actually want to share the things that it took to get there if you take them to lunch. If you seem sincere, they will share it with you what to do. And within 30 to 60 minutes, they're going to open up the book on where you need to start. So many people just don't want to do the work, man, and that's the truth. I don't care. I mean, let them make them mad. Let them send their put their license inactive, whatever it is. It's just it's so simple. This thing isn't difficult. You just got to be committed at a high level.
Yeah, what you just talked about is one of my themes. One of my themes and theories is that a lot of agents are looking at it, come into the business, and you know what? They come in for the right reasons. I'm not going to say any of them come in the wrong reasons. They've got their reasons. They want to be an investor. They want to help people. They want to set their own hours and make as much money as they want. They come in with all sincerity.
Yeah.
But what they do is they look at these different things, and a lot of them will look at it and try to copy what they see, right? And what you've just said is don't copy the guy or that girl. Call them up, talk to them, because you know what? If you're sincere enough, if they honestly think that you are there and you're able to reach them, that can be a problem. They're going to tell you everything they're doing, because unless you do, you're just copying the easy shit they do that you don't see that iceberg below the water. Tip of the iceberg. That is like, to me, the best way to look at what most agents do and why they do not succeed.
But here's what's good. Here's what's good about this. Like what we're talking about, we can make it sound big, and it's like, man, Mark and Dave, it's all, you guys are making this sound complicated and all that. Here's why it's not complicated. Because 20 years ago, I was a 25-year-old kid. And 25 is young for this business. That's young, right? And so if that kid can do it, almost anyone can. And they have to understand, like, I didn't understand all these principles. I couldn't have sat down and had this same conversation. You don't have to be all of this. You just have to say, hey, what are the behaviors that are necessary for me to consistently have a pipeline full of leads? How do I need to treat folks? And I'll go out and learn the rest. This isn't rocket science, man. And then what happens is year over year, you get a little better. You start to compound abilities. You compound the way you speak. You compound connections. Yeah, most people aren't able to represent multi-million-dollar clients year one because you just don't know how to talk and speak and engage with them unless you grew up that way, and maybe you do. That happens over time. And so they just need to get started. I was at Inman in January. That's where we met, in January 23. But I was back at Inman this year. And I did a bunch of small interviews. I took my content guy with me, and I did a bunch of small interviews. Daryl Davis, he's a national trainer out of Long Island. And I pulled a guy aside. He came off stage, and I pulled him aside. Hey, will you talk to me for 10 minutes? He's the chief marketing officer for a huge lender, LoanDepot.com. And he's pretty big on social media. And I said, hey, that loan officer, see, this applies across all industries.
Yes, it does.
That loan officer 27 years ago, his name's Alec Hansen, cool guy. He's a little wacky like me and crazy. And I don't even really know him that well. That was like, I think maybe that was our first conversation. But I said, that loan officer 27 years ago, if the Alec today could go and give that 27-year-old kid, what's the piece of advice you would give him? See, that's a different question. Most people come up like, hey, Mark, what should I do? Hold on, we got to rephrase this. We're not. What would you tell that guy to do yourself? And it's as simple. He said, just get started, man. See, it's not go study, become a perfectionist at everything. There's so many misnomers out here. So you got to commit to go all in. You got to commit to the outcome and get started. And I'm not the highest IQ guy around. I didn't start ahead. Man. You just got to earn it every day.
But let me ask you this question. You say you're not the highest IQ guy, but isn't it your job? And haven't you succeeded at raising the IQ of your company every day?
Yeah, because I get better every day. But I didn't start being the smartest guy.
No,
that's what happens.
And that's a great point to make. I mean, look at it this way. I mean, when you make a choice to an outcome, you can keep going. And you yourself said that one of the things that kept you going was your refusal to quit, right? I mean, look, we've had our ups and downs. You and I have been through very tough markets where we made a lot of money, we lost a lot of money, we lost it all, right? But
this isn't all sunshine and rainbows, man. No. The road to success is fraught with danger and pitfalls and failure left and right. That's when people quit. Oh, it's terrible. Those moments, those sleepless nights, the mental pain, the anguish it causes, oh, man. Yeah, it's terrible. But what happens is if you keep going, you start to prove to yourself that you can do hard things.
Yeah.
And when you prove to yourself you can do hard things, man, really soon there's not a wall high enough that's going to stop you from getting over it.
No, and that's the intestinal fortitude or the guts or the balls or whatever you've got to keep going, even though you seem to keep losing. Because, believe it or not, I mean, there's so many people that got into business over the last few years that haven't learned about what it was to deal with a tough market, that haven't learned, about a lot of different things. And there's still going to be learning curves as we move into the next few months, the next 6 to 12 months.
What do you think some of those are? So we're learning it now. I'm coaching agents all the time on it.
Right.
What are some of those things that they're going to have to learn that you think? I just turned it over on you in our conversation. I know
That's
this is
fine. What are the things you're going to have to learn?
Yeah, that they didn't have to previously because it was so easy.
They're going to have to learn to be more like fucking human beings than to be, this person that they see on TV or the person that they see where they're acting professional. Professional is very important. But let me tell you something. If you're not meeting your client where they're at, there's a chance you're not going to have a client.
Yeah.
And meeting your client where they're at is to understand what they need, what they are doing, rather than reading a script. Look, the scripts and dialogues we've had for 40, 50 years still work. However, not rote, not like a freaking robot. Robotics is gone. Talking like everybody else is over, right? I've always believed in the art of differentiation, and I believe I am an artist of differentiation. You've got to differentiate yourself and what you're doing and show value. If you can't show value, first of all, you have to build rapport. Second of all, if you can't, after you build rapport, then you have the right to show value. And when you show value, then you have a right to maybe work with them.
Let me ask you a question. If you were not in the real estate business anymore and you didn't know any realtors and you were going to hire someone to market and sell your home and to represent you, what are the attributes that Dave would need to see to hire an agent?
They show up on time, because that means an awful lot to me. They show up on time, dressed a proper way. To me, that's important. I'm old.
You dress
school.
well. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm old school. Do I have a problem with how you can dress any way you want when you come in the office, any way you want, doing stuff where you're not going to the public? I'm not saying you
don't need to make excuses for that, though, man. See, I think that's part of the thing, too. The people that are leading out in front, someone can do it a different way, but I think you got to lead your way. You don't need to make excuses for dressing well. This society has a little issue with that right now. No. If you don't like the way that Dave talks about how you should dress and how you should lead or how you should approach clients, then you know what? Then he's probably not your cup of tea. But I don't think you should dilute who you are about the right way to do business. I ain't got screw that, man.
Yeah, and look, I tell coaching clients before they work with the mentees before I become their mentor. I'm not for everybody. I am going to bust your balls. Yeah. I am going to give you shit.
Why? Why are you going to do that? So I do too. Why are you going to do that though?
You told me you wanted something. You hired me to help you get there. So why did you hire me if you're not going to do the freaking work?
Yeah. So here's what go ahead. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's really simple, isn't it, Mark? I mean, you said that I want to I want to sell 30 homes this year.
Then sell 30.
Great. Let's get started. Here we're going to start with this, this, and this. Tell me how it goes. You need help. You need support. Stand in front of me. Make whoever you're calling, I don't care who it is, make them in front of me so I can take you immediately off the phone and tell you what to say. Tell you, kind of work your mojo, because everybody has it, right? If you're not willing to show up for yourself, I don't want to work with you.
Yeah. I tell people when they seem confused, I tell them to get out a piece of paper. It might be after a class I put on where 30 people show up, or it could be 10, or every week I do these things called broker bonus, Thursdays from 1 to 2 in our theater training room. Agents can show up and I still engage. And so I just tell them, like, hey, if this seems complicated to you, take out a piece of paper and write down the things that you would want to see in the next realtor you would hire to sell your home. And then when they get done, I said, just be that.
That's right.
Just be that. See, that's how this isn't complicated. The issue is that there's a disagreement on what a lot of these people that become licensed realtors, and just so you know, a lot of these people, I love the ones I know. This isn't disparaging. This is just the facts. A lot of the people, they actually want higher level of commitment out of the agent they would hire than they're willing to sign up for. And that's what's changing our business, and that's not okay.
Yeah. So I just spent 2 days at a great conference here in California, and it was the highest level of agents. I mean, there are people in the room that are doing, them and their teams doing $1 billion of volume a year. You know, people that went from 100 million to 500 million. And you know what? They committed. They decided to do what they had to do. They showed up, right? They took the shit from their coach. They hired one coach after another, one that got better if they weren't comfortable with them. So it's like this business, in my opinion, is getting much better. Or if you're not hanging around with the right people, start hanging around with the right people.
Well, that's life. Didn't we learn that stuff? That's the reason why parents want their kids to hang around good kids, not bad kids, because you're influenced by the people you're around. Quit going to lunch with people who aren't producing. Quit doing that. Right. You got to start. You got to start hanging around people that are. So, do you mind if I quote one of the publications? There's like Riz Media and Inman and all that. Do you mind if I quote one of them?
Not at all, man. Not at all.
All right. So, people might not be able to access it if they don't pay for premium access. But on Inman, over the past couple days, now you go to Inman.com and check it out. I don't get paid. I'm not even a subscriber. They don't have me come on stage. Nothing. I just go to the events sometimes. But someone wrote, one of the contributors wrote, and I believe it's a YouTube video out there, the 11 things that I wish agents were taught in real estate school when we got our license. And, dude, they're awesome. They're just awesome. And agents should go out there and look at those. And if you're not – and there's some things, you know, I mean, there's stuff that's like, man, I got to become good at that. Well, you don't have to do them all great today, but you need to get to like a 60 or a 70% proficiency in all those areas. Because I know this. Consumers expect it. When your clients hire you, they are just assuming that you're good.
Yeah.
They are. They're assuming, and you're letting them assume that.
Yeah.
And then you're showing up with whatever level of commitment you have. So, yeah, man, this really isn't – that's why in the beginning I said, hey, you got to go ahead and make the commitment before you get to the crossroads. That is how simple this is.
So how do you get an agent that how do you get an agent started?
Yeah, so you got to write down some goals. Goals are important.
Goals, okay.
Yeah, goals are important, man. Here's why goals are important. I don't. Maybe this is. I'm starting to define some social media stuff I'm going to put out, and maybe I build one of the biggest YouTube channels in the world. We're going to start doing it soon. I don't know, but here's why goals are important. Goals are important because when failure inevitably shows up, the thing that's going to allow you to be resilient and persist through are your goals. And so it's really important for you not to write down a bunch of BS, pie in the sky, yacht, private jet, all that shit. Like, that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30-year goals. Unless you were the first 10 guys to buy crypto. Or unless you knew Zuckerberg and you had an opportunity to buy in. So what you have to do is you have to really write down 2 or 3 really significant goals that can change your life, that will get you to the outcome that you want. And then you better get busy taking the actions on doing the things that are going to get you there. But when failure shows up, and it's going to a lot, and I said it, when it shows up, the goals, if they're really meaningful to you and you really, really have to have them, that's what's going to get you through. That's easy, man. Make a commitment. Give me 2 or 3 strong goals you want for your life, and then I'd look at them and say, hey, regardless of how hard this real estate work gets, I don't want you focusing on the outcome at all. Day-to-day process. Let's get to work on the things you need to do. Let's go find you some business and start filling up your pipeline. That is what's going to feed your outcome, your end-of-the-line goals. That's it.
Does accountability help?
Yeah, what's accountability and discipline? Who's doing it? I mean, I don't think most of us haven't developed the skill of holding ourselves accountable at that level. That's a tough one, man. Accountability is good. We use that word a lot. But most people have not had to truly hold themselves accountable because they're not even willing to, let's be honest, they're not even willing to be accountable to do a good job at their jobs most of the time, man. The 80-20 rule showed up in this world before me and you were born.
Yep.
I don't know why. I think it's BS. Like, it's the fundamentals. So my goal as a company is the top 20% of us, there's something inside that's just going to make us keep going, and we just want it a little bit extra. The bottom 20%, there's not a damn thing I can do for you because you're lazy as hell, right? And you're just going to be a retread every job you go to, and you're going to take yourself to the next thing. You think it's everyone else. You just got to take yourself, who isn't willing to grow and develop, to the next thing. The middle 60% is, I think, where guys like you and me and other people leading companies and people who are coaching, where you can really make the difference. Because what if those middle 60%, what if nobody really showed up in their life? What if they didn't have that moment where they really had that significant coach as an adolescent that really inspired them? What happened if they didn't have one of these top-level elite parents that knew the things about how that knew Greek philosophy, that knew the things that these great thought leaders, that Jim Rohn and Tony Robbins, that they know? I don't think a lot of us have been in the real estate geographically of one of those people. So that's what we're supposed to do. I think we're supposed to show up and show those people what it looks like. But man, when they push back and show you that they're not willing to go all in and commit, I ain't got any time for you. Yeah, there's nothing I can do for you.
Right. So we're coming up on time. I do want to ask you about the Necessary Entrepreneur podcast. Talk to me about that. Talk to me how it's birthed and where you're going with it. Like I said, we're up against time, so I just want to make sure I get that in. It sounds really cool.
We all have a story to tell, don't we?
Yeah.
All of us. And I think that's what the best thing we can do is sit down across from a client when you go out on an appointment, me and you, when you meet somebody new, like, hey, man, what's your story? If all of us would just stop and ask that question and listen, you'll probably make a lot of friends, make a lot of connections. But what you'll do is you'll learn. And so the Necessary Entrepreneur was trying to listen to the stories of this entrepreneurial journey of people from all sorts of backgrounds and fields and entrepreneurial endeavors. And I think what we can do is we need to start doing a better job of modeling and learning from the folks that came before us. And before you want to dip your toes into this entrepreneurial venture, being a real estate agent, opening a business, a franchise of some sort, opening a cookie shop, you probably should listen to the stories of people that have come before, because if you really, really are interested, you'll notice that they all sound the same regardless of where they came from. So I've benefited from it, but it's talking to entrepreneurs, entrepreneurial spirited people that we can learn from. One of the best ones, a guy named Dan Oliver, Dano's Seasoning. If everybody's had it yet, it's showing up on all the shelves. The guy was on like 3 or 4 months ago. And you start to realize, like, dang, he came on with a camouflage ball cap, normal gear, and he grew up a normal, average, everyday Joe's life in Louisville, Kentucky, that was working in a bar, and he had an idea. But most people, it stops with an idea. People say idea. He actually took it and did something with it. And the guy's going to sell $100 million in seasoning in 2024, 2024, and change his life and a few of the people that started it with him. So we're starting to talk to significant people that have stories to tell, and we can all learn from it.
Is there a certain size entrepreneur you'd aim to talk to or no?
No, I had the guy on that started the Cincinnati watch company that still has a full-time job, but they make bespoke watches. They come up with these ideas that are inspirational for them coming out of Cincinnati, and he's a watch collector, and they'll do 100, 200 runs of watches that they design. He's not a multimillionaire from watchmaking. It doesn't matter about the money that you make or the level of production you achieve. The story of perseverance, and you have to go all in and keep going, that's the stories that matter, and everyone shares that in common.
Well, man, I tell you what, I mean, this is time flies when you're having fun, man. And it's time has just flown by. I look at the time and I'm saying, holy crap. Right. And, I want to thank you so much for coming on. There's a wealth of knowledge here. So look, we have Mark's contact information. Scroll on the bottom. His Instagram is there. Mark, if you're a new agent, what would be the number one thing you would tell them to do to start making money?
Go find someone to be around, whether it be on a team or a brokerage. Put your license at the right place for somebody that you really feels going to care about you. It's really important. And then you better accept the fact that you're going to have to do a lot of work, man. So no different than what Alec Hansen said. You better get started. Accept failure, but put yourself around people that really care about you and that have some success that kind of looks like the success you want to have.
Hey, man, I want to thank you so much for coming on. I have 2 more things, one question and one other thing. First of all, the question, how do I help you grow your business?
by you continuing to get better, be in my sphere and my network, and me continuing to learn. I mean, I think that's it. I try to be more selfless than selfish every day. So I don't really ever think about how can someone else help me, man. I really don't. Maybe I'll start doing more of that, but I think if we all continue – I heard someone say this. I don't know if it was one of the thought leaders or Greek philosopher, but they said, hey, how about we make an agreement? That how about you take care of you for me, and I take care of me for you. That's different than the world tries to interact with each other right now. We're always wanting someone else to take care of us. And I think if I take care of me and I become a more powerful human every day and you're in my vicinity, you benefit. And it doesn't cost you anything. And I think if you continue to be a way more capable human being that's raising your level of performance every day, and I'm in that vicinity, that I can be around that and learn and grow, and that doesn't cost me anything either. Go charge the people that you're not getting anything from. Go charge them, man. I tell people that in my network all the time, whether it's plumbers, whether it's electricians. I was like, hey, listen, listen, I'm going to send you so many referrals that you're not going to want to charge me a penny. I'm going to support you and your business and make you look so awesome that you're going to show up and say, hey, Mark, can I just come do work with you today? It might sound crazy, but that's what happens.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hey, man, thank you so much. We had a great time. And last but not least, man, I just want you to know that you found out about the hat, and you said, Dave, I got to get on the show. I need a hat. So anyway, you're getting a little brightness on your forehead. This is going to protect you. We'll send this out to you. Hey, everybody, next week, we have a local New Jersey realtor coming on, Sheldon Neal. He's been a top agent with RE/MAX in Oradell, New Jersey for many, many years. He does things the right way. He's fun. He doesn't, it'll show that you don't always have to be serious, but Sheldon's a great, great guy. And of course, this man here, I want to thank you so much. His contact information is here. Make sure you get on top of that. Make sure you talk to him. Everybody, God bless. Thank you so much. We'll see you again next week for episode 297.
We got to do better graphics like that, guys.